So from our discussion with the year 2 students, they have given us many different ideas and they have given us stimuli to base this children's play on. What's one thing they spoke about with you?
They brought up The Three Little Pigs a lot and Jack and the Beanstalk. One of the kids brought up Beauty and the Beast, which I think would be like quite a weird one to try and...
It's very possible to do it because a lot of shows for children are based on Disney movies.
Yeah.
And that is a Disney movie. But to be fair, there are a lot of characters.
There are a lot of
So that would be a problem for our group because we are...
9 people.
It would be very difficult to have all of the characters. Of course, multi-rolling is a possibility, but it would be quite difficult because there are a lot of main characters pretty much.
I feel like that would get quite confusing for the younger children.
Yeah, and multi-rolling as well. With something like Beauty and the Beast, they have very specific character type. Like, so there's a teacup, and how are you supposed to go from a teacup to something else with a quick change? It's quite difficult. So one of the kids said that they like the scary parts of Beauty and the Beast. So I'm guessing that means the part where
like the end where he's being hunted.
Yeah, and the Beast ends up killing Gaston, and it is quite scary. So what we need to take from that is that kind of scary is appropriate.
Yeah,
and that they do like it. They do like that sort of bit of scariness. It's not too much, not something like an actual horror film, but just that extra part in it for the like climax of our piece.
Three Little Pigs I feel like would be quite easy to do. The kids did talk about it being quite scary. One of them did say they quite liked the bit where the houses get blown away. It'd be quite hard to get that shown on stage. And I think we've decided that whatever we're doing it in thrust.
I think that could actually work quite well with Three Little Pigs.
It could, but it like we'd need a lot of stage design, set design, props and stuff.
Yeah, because obviously if it was just an end on stage, you could probably have just a flat board that looks like a house, that could be painted like a house, and then we just push it over sort of thing.
Yeah.
In thrust, it's quite difficult for that, I guess. But another thing they said about Three Little Pigs was that they found the wolf scary, and they liked that because they said specifically that
they find the sharp teeth scary
and the sharp nails. So that's another thing. With that and Beauty and the Beast together, we can like use that as a sort of
starting point for all children. Most children's stories have something scary that's like a wolf, essentially.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, he's kind of like, he's not wolf-like, but he's like a bear.
And same thing, pointy teeth and pointy nails, and he does have that. So that could be used in our piece. Jack and the Beanstalk, I think that one, obviously it has been, many children's plays have been made from Jack and the Beanstalk. The slight issue with this one is making either the beanstalk.
How do you do the giant? How do you do the cow?
A lot of the other props would be really quite fun to make though, such as like the beans. But when it comes to the giant, I don't know, that could be hard. I mean, if we were to use a projector, they could possibly have just a really like an enlarged recording of one of us or something
that could,
on the projector. But if it's in thrust, it's going to be like you kind of want it more interactive rather than that. And also the projector won't be very good quality.
No.
What's an idea you have for giant?
For the giant, I think the giant could be played as a normal sized person. We could like sort of adjust it to fit the needs of what we would be doing.
Yeah.
Rather than Jack and the Beanstalk specifically, it could be more of
our adaptation of it. Obviously that's probably best to do. I was also thinking stilts, but that could be
quite
dangerous, and also we don't have anybody in our theatre company who knows how to walk on stilts as far as I'm concerned, so that would take a lot of practice. I mean, we could get there, but it would be a bit dangerous. So for the cow, so a lot of what these things have in common that what the year twos have spoken about, a lot of them have animals in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's also another good point to add to our piece of theatre. And also for Beauty and the Beast and Three Little Pigs, in my opinion, I would automatically just have them as people dressed in things that would make them look like that.
Look like the animal.
But then when I was thinking about Jack and the Beanstalk, I was thinking about having a 4-legged cow, which would be like out of 2 people in one of those cow costumes. But actually, if you think about it, you don't need that. You could just have somebody standing up and playing a cow. To get the costume, that would be quite difficult, especially us living in Luxembourg. It's quite hard to get a lot of things delivered here from like on Amazon, for example. And also, I think there's like one party shop here, and I don't think it would have a cow costume for 2 people.
Yeah, probably not.
So we'd either have to make it, and we could probably find somebody to do that. But yeah, again, there's nobody in our company who knows how to make.
And there's nobody that really knows anybody that can make.
Yeah,
And
as
it
far
would
as
be
we're concerned.
quite expensive, I feel.
Because you could easily stitch some black splodges onto a white top.
Yeah, easily.
And use makeup to portray that person as a cow. Lion King.
I think because Lion King essentially is Hamlet. Shakespeare for 6-year-olds is quite a difficult thing to do.
A very difficult thing to do.
Because Shakespeare is obviously quite violent. Hamlet especially, there's a lot of violence, which is probably not very suitable for younger audiences. It could be a possibility, but also the cast, there's a lot of main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Timon, Pumbaa, Scar, Simba, Mufasa, Nala.
But then you're also going to need the whole part.
With the hyenas.
Yeah, and also the
wildebeest.
Wildebeest, that's the one. That sort of thing would be better for a larger production, which we don't really have the resources for. And also our space that we're working with, I don't think is big enough to do all of that.
Yeah, no, definitely not, especially in Thrust.
But yeah, I feel like that one would be a bit too difficult. But these are all very good stimuli to start with, a good place to start, because I think that we have one thing in common for all of these is the animals. Another thing the children talked about was the Harry Potter series in the Marvel universe, which I don't think either would be very appropriate, because Harry Potter, although some of the films have a BBFC rating of U or of PG, quite a few of them are rated 12 or 12A, which is too old for their age group. And for the Marvel series, pretty much all of the Marvel movies are rated 12 or above. Isn't appropriate for their age. There's also a lot of violence in the Marvel series and in Harry Potter as well, I think. I don't know, I haven't seen it. They're not appropriate, and they also don't really give that moral lesson that we've been looking for.
Oh, one of the kids that I interviewed also, Peter and the Wolf, it's not really as popular, I'd say, as Three Little Pigs. So it'd like be something new and interesting to those who don't know about Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah, I feel like also the school we go to, it's an international school. We have lots of people from different cultures.
Different cultures, yeah.
But a lot of them do know the original fairy tales. And Peter and the Wolf is quite an obscure one.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that a lot of them have in common is the moral lesson, which I think is good. Like Three Little Pigs. Yes, so like they have that moral lesson. And it always ends in a good way. But it also teaches them what not to do and what to do. So for Peter and the Wolf, that could be respect your elders and listen to your elders because they know best. But obviously it's good for children because it's
didactic.
And it ends in a good way.
I think Peter and the Wolf would be quite, in Thrust, it would be quite interesting to see how it works. Because there's a part with the tree, and I mean the tree's always there, and the pond is there as well. So that like we could make that a reality and have the kids sit around the area where the tree is and the pond is, or we could have them sitting in the scene. It can be like somewhat interactive, but not quite.
I was thinking maybe if the characters kind of walk through the audience, maybe where the audience is where the woods sort of are, so we could have like trees around the outside.
Yeah.
And the characters could walk through. But also another thing we have to think about is the fact that Peter and the Wolf, it's a musical production. So we would need
an orchestra. But like not
5 different instruments to do the whole thing. So we would need to find a way to do that.
I think if we did get instruments, they would be on stage while we're down by where the chairs get pushed back.
Yeah, we could do different sort of adaptation to it. So some different creative ideas. We could have a sort of Alice in Wonderland theme to it.
Oh, that could be quite cool.
So all of the characters would have wacky makeup and wacky costume rather than the original just like looking like the actual animal. The trees and like Dr. Seuss, but that could also work for Alice in Wonderland.
It could work.
If you link them together. But for climbing a tree,
we could make the branches on the tree start quite low, so whoever sits on the tree doesn't need to go up that high. They could just like stand on a staging block or a couple of staging blocks, and we could like paint over it so it looks like a branch.
But another thing we have to think about with Peter and the Wolf is the amount of movements, because the characters don't talk. And it is only movements.
Yeah.
So we would have to figure out ways to move like
the characters.
Or like the animals that they are. So like a bird would probably be quite flouncy. Whereas the duck, I feel like, could be quite clumsy.
The duck could be, and the cat would be very, I feel, stealthy.
The wolf could be
peaceful,
quite sly.
Yeah, like a fox.
Let's think about costumes for Peter and the Wolf.
You said something about Alice in Wonderland earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and just thinking about it, we could give Peter a similar costume to the twins. The costumes are quite childish, I feel, so
Yeah, true.
it would fit Peter.
Yeah, because he is a child.
Yeah, they're very, very colourful.
And they have
Quite.
like the overalls, which would be good
Yeah.
for a child. Obviously, the cat is quite easy to link it with the Cheshire Cat, but that Cheshire Cat doesn't really look stealthy. Obviously, it kind of is because it disappears and things, and it is quite mysterious. But it doesn't really look like a stealthy sort of cat. So if we were to use the cat in a sort of costume relating to that, then I think we would have to really emphasize the stealthy movements to really portray that characteristic.
Do you remember the Alice in Wonderland movies with the Jabberwocky?
Yes.
Like that big dragon?
Yeah.
I think that something similar to that would be good for the wolf, mainly because they have similar characteristics, I guess. The Jabberwocky is quite menacing in colour. I think it's just like grey,
Yeah,
like purple or something.
yeah, but we could like add
colour,
and I feel like it would be more fun to do it in different colours and things. And also another thing, these we asked the children what their favourite colours were. A lot of them said pink. I know in other groups a lot of them said rainbow.
You got pink a lot. I got like blue and red and black.
Oh yeah, you got lots of reds and blacks in you. So I feel like a good thing to do, because a lot of the colours, I know black isn't that like vibrant of a colour. I guess it kind of is actually. Jet black is quite a vibrant colour.
Depends on how it's used, I guess, in contrast with other colours.
Yeah, but I feel like we should make it very colourful. We have the ability to make it very colourful things. We could do very colourful makeup and costume and also set design.
Yeah.
I was thinking for the tree, possibly having very large tree trunk with a ladder sort of inside it, so you could climb up to the top and look over the branches or whatever.
Be quite cool.
However, it would be very difficult to make. Although we do have art students in our group who could do quite a good job of that. But also another thing is if we're doing in thrust, having a really, really big tree would make it really difficult, because how would the children see what's going on if we're behind the tree on any side, you know? So that could be quite difficult to do. Obviously, we could put it in a corner or something, maybe. That's kind of behind the audience, so that it's using that kind of interactive part of it.
I think putting the tree in the corner, it'd be interesting, but I feel as though it'd be quite awkward as well. What I was thinking was more central to the performance, to the piece, so that, you know, it's more of a focal point. Because most of the action does happen in and around the tree. Well, not in the tree, but around the tree. It's on a meadow in the actual thing. So we could make that more interesting and different and more like menacing, I guess, by putting it in a forest. Yeah,
I like the idea of it being in a forest, because if we have a forest but full of bright colours, or the contrast of having quite a dark forest to give that sort of scary element to the children, but with really bright costumes and characters.
I quite like that idea.
That could be quite cool, to have that contrast. And I feel like it would also help with the didactic lesson of just don't go into the woods sort of thing, because it is quite menacing.
Yeah.
Like, we want to make it so that it's a fun piece rather than something actually scary that will scare them.
Maybe we should like try and push the idea of Peter and the Wolf to the teachers, because we've like, out of all the ones we've come up with the most ideas.
And also the whole number of characters and everything.
Yeah, like
with the other one
as well.
Yeah, the other ones can be quite hard with the lack or too many characters.
Yeah.
And it has that didactic lesson. It has a lot of potential to be what we want it to be, and for it to be sort of like fun and exciting, rather than just the normal actual story.